Yeah, so what's the next part of the show, Ellie?
Liam, Ellie, and Ashley have been to the cinema or done other things, and here are the spoiler-free reviews of those things that they have done.
I love it. Love it. We have nice and succinct titles on Nerd on Nerd.
Clearly.
That's my favourite one.
So do you want to explain what this part's about?
It's another one where the title does sort of cover a lot of it.
It was a lengthy
We're going
title.
to do some spoiler-free reviews. It is a lengthy title. We're going to do some spoiler-free reviews of things that we've seen. There's a rule that I don't think anyone's going over, so we're fine, that we've had to introduce where we can only do a maximum of 3 each, because Liam got into the habit of going to the cinema.
You said when we got guests on, it can only be 2 each.
That's fine, if you're happy with that rule.
I'm not, but that's what you said, and you're the one that edits.
Okay, cool.
So
I am the one that edits.
Now we're stuck with this stupid rule.
I like it. It sounds really strict, but it's just because Liam would talk for like an hour if I let him.
It's a podcast. If you didn't let me talk for an hour, what's the point?
I meant just this section. You knew I meant that. Anyway.
Yeah?
Who would like to start? Who's got stuff they've done?
We all have. We discussed this at the start before we started recording.
I was making it seem more fluid. Liam, what have you seen?
Okay, I saw a little movie. It's just come out in the UK on Friday called Us.
I really want to see this.
Yeah, it's spoiler free, so I won't do spoilers. It's directed by Jordan Peele, who... Did you see Get Out?
No, I want to see that before I go and see Us. I know they're not... Well, I assume they're not connected, but I want to see it anyway.
Yeah.
I have also not seen Get Out, and I don't plan to either.
How come?
Fair.
Nothing about it has appealed to me. It does not remotely look like something that is to my interest.
That is interesting. As a horror fan, that surprises me. Just because it's the sort of thing that there was so much buzz around it when it came out.
Yeah, that's especially one reason why I don't want to watch it. The more people hype something up, the more people go around saying how amazing it is and all this shit, I get very put off because suddenly there's some kind of consensus about a film, and I rarely agree with it. It happens sometimes, but rarely do I agree with the consensus. I mean, for example, everybody absolutely loved and raved about Don't Breathe. I watched it and I fucking hated it, and I happily went on a rant about everything I hated about. One of the dumbest movies I've ever fucking seen. But I was just like, thanks a lot to everybody who said this was the scariest film they had ever seen. And people were like, Get Out is the scariest film I've ever seen. I'm like, so it's not sin. Okay, got it. Yeah, I have a completely different scary standard, and I have very, very high standards for horror. And typically what is becoming conventional horror or popular horror these days is not really in my wheelhouse. Like, closest I will come to having a wheelhouse is The Conjuring, but I was already a James Wan fan before James Wan became a big name. Yeah. So that one I could get away with because I already liked his work. So seeing more of his work was good for me. But yeah.
Yeah, I think we did a culture swap of The Conjuring, didn't we, for a Halloween special, and we enjoyed it. And I think I reviewed Don't Breathe in this part of the show on a previous episode and kind of came to your conclusion where I was like, there are some tense moments, but it also goes like way too silly at points. And there was one very specific scene. I was like, no, it's gone too silly. And I
Turkey baster.
Didn't need it.
It's always the turkey baster.
Just didn't need it. It was just dumb. But back to Us. So yeah, directed by Jordan Peele. Okay, it has. I'm gonna butcher all the pronunciations. Happens.
Yep. You are.
Lupita Nyong'o.
Yeah, she's fantastic in it. So I think it's not spoiling it to say it's because this is revealed in the trailer. It's about a family, and then there's like an exact copy of that family that appears on their doorstep that look exactly like them, and then it sort of has this like home invasion element to it, and then it sort of goes into a slightly different direction. If I discuss that would be spoilers. It's
no spoilers.
Also got Winston Duke, who was in Black Panther.
With Lupita Nyong'o.
Yes. He's really good. And it has Elizabeth Moss, who is in so many things. Watching this film, I was like, I need to see a Joker movie with her as the Joker, because it would be so good.
Oh, we want to... Oh, God, what is that? Flash timeline. God, I can't remember what it's called. But basically the timeline is screwed up, and it's where instead of Bruce Wayne becoming Batman, Bruce Wayne gets shot and killed, and his father becomes a vengeance-ridden Batman, and his mother becomes the Joker.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
Ooh.
It's a completely different timeline. Everything is fucked. Aquaman's evil.
Yeah.
He cheats on Mera with Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman cuts Mera's head off. Shit goes down in this time zone. And
I need to read this.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. They've definitely... I can't remember. Flashpoint. That was it. Flashpoint. And
I've heard of it before.
yeah,
But I've not. Yeah.
I've
Okay.
actually seen the scene where Martha Wayne becomes the Joker, and it's pretty intense. And it's it's still in keeping with the Joker's story, where Joker always says it just takes one bad day.
Yeah.
And you just snap, and it's true. Like the mugger runs off, and I think Bruce Wayne's dad was just beating the living shit out of him, and there's Martha holding her dead son Bruce in her arms, and she's crying hysterically, and then her crying just turns into laughter, and she's got his blood on her face, and she's laughing, and it's like, oh shit, she's crazy. And she becomes the Joker, and he becomes Batman. It's like, oh, this world is nuts. Like, Flash, stop messing with shit. Everybody
That
went
sounds
cuckoo.
really good.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
why
I'll
a
just
lot
track
of
that
people were saying that they wanted a Flash movie.
Yeah.
I definitely would want it. But I've seen
Yeah.
the animated version, and it did pretty. So yeah, female Joker does work. So if you think she
Yes.
can do it, you want her for Flash.
Definitely, 100%. So there were 2 kids in it as well, and I don't know what it is, like, in the last 10, 15 years, but, like, kid acting has just become so impressive. Like, it used to be, like, when I was growing up and a kid would appear on a film, I'm thinking very specifically of something like Hook, for example. I would hate it and want to claw my ears out. And now, like, I don't know, like, I was discussing this with Kat after we saw the film, and she was like, what was the first film where there was, like, a kid actor that was genuinely good? And I'm like, I don't know. But there had to have been a turning point, right? Where suddenly
The
people were like,
Sixth Sense.
yeah, he was
come
good.
on.
I've got a suspicion, Liam, that actually there have always been good kid actors.
Oh, yeah.
You just forget about them because you love hating kids so much that you remember all the ones where you were like, I just hated that kid, and all the ones where there was a good kid actor, you're like, they were fine. So
Right,
don't
name
worry
me
about it.
like a good kid actor from before like the 90s.
Oh, so are you asking me to name
Yeah.
you an actor, Liam?
Yes.
But no, I can't name any. Macaulay Culkin is the only child actor I know the name of, and he's not a child anymore.
Well,
I-
obviously they tend to do that.
I gotta kind of agree with Ellie on this one, because one of the horror films I watched last year from a marathon, a film from the 1950s called The Bad Seed, black and
Yeah,
white
that's
film,
good.
psychological thriller. It was absolutely fantastic, and it really is focusing on this young child, this young girl who's a fucking psychopath. She switches on a dime, like, she's very good at being prim and proper to people, but then when her parents aren't around, she's a fucking little psycho. And that was in the 50s, and she was really good, and I was just like, yeah, I want to smack the shit out of this kid. The acting is so good. I'm believing she's a psycho. I don't want her near me. So, yeah, I'd say good kid actors have been around quite a while. I think
Fair.
they'd stop hiring them if they were still
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, I just feel like now they're killing it. So you've got Shahadi Wright Joseph and Evan Alex, who just give incredible performances. The only thing with Us is I like it. The twist at the end is a bit obvious, but the problem is there's an internal logic to the film that I don't think has been sufficiently explained. And it's not the sort of thing that is like, oh, we're just leaving it up to audience interpretation.
I hate.
Yeah, there is something in it that I'm like, wait, this doesn't. If you think about it, it doesn't make sense. And I've been looking online, I've been reading things like, oh, Us Explained and all this sort of stuff to see if anyone has like
Actually
explained
explained it?
if I'm missing something. Pardon?
Actually explained it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And there's definitely themes that I missed in the film because I'm very bad at watching films with that like academic head on, like, oh, what is the director really trying to say? I just let it wash over me, and then I'll look up later what the director was trying to say and be like, oh, yeah, smart, well done. But yeah, there was just one element to this that, if it was explained well, could be like really creepy, but because it isn't explained well, it
Yeah.
just annoyed me.
Maybe it's in a deleted scene or two.
Yeah, potentially. So I still enjoyed it. There was still enough like tense moments and stuff like that I enjoyed. For me, Get Out is still better. But this was a 3.5 out of 5 film for me.
Okay.
Fair enough.